Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very excited to welcome you to the very first World Higher Education Ranking Summit. And today's panel is very different because today you will hear the voices of change, voices from leaders in their community, but student leaders, people that shape a better world through their action, young, entrepreneurial, and really passionate students from all over the world. Today, there are more than 1.8 billion people between the ages of 10 and 24, and this is the largest generation of youth in history. Close to 90% of them live in developing countries, where they make up the large proportion of the population. These numbers are expected to grow between 2015 and 2030, and about almost 2 billion young people are projected to turn 15 years old. So connected to each other like never before, young people want and crave to contribute to the resilience of their communities, proposing innovative solutions, driving social progress, and inspiring political change. And today, I'm really honored because today we are joined by amazing students that are contributing to the development of the better, more sustainable world. So I would love to introduce you to Richmond Quadro-Fosso from University of Energy and Natural Resources, who is currently working with the United Nations Development Program in Ghana. Welcome, Richmond.
Hi all, thank you very much, Angelica. It's so nice, and I thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak passionately about the Sustainable Development Goals, and more specifically about SDG 4, which talks about quality education. I'm very happy to share my experiences with you all, and I hope I make a good impression. Thank you very much. As said earlier, my name is Richmond Quadro-Fosso, and I completed the University of Energy and Natural Resources, and I'm currently working with the United Nations Development Program in Ghana. I'm so passionate about quality education because I believe and I strongly know that the youth today are the drivers of action tomorrow. And if we are able to give them quality education, we will be able to force their hands, and we will be able to ensure global effect and produce global impact in the future. And that is why I'm so passionate to talk about the SDG 4. And I'll be speaking in two forms. I'll be speaking in quality education in terms of pre-secondary, and also quality education in terms of post-secondary. So these are some of the SDG Goal 4 targets that I am passionate about, and I find it very interesting. So target point 4.3 said that by 2030, we should ensure equal access for all women and men to afford quality technical, vocational, and tertiary education, including the university. And it is quite surprising that when you go to the vocational schools, you find more women than more men, which is unequal. We have the perception that vocation is always for women, but it shouldn't be so. We should ensure this equilibrium or balance. And 4.4 is saying that by 2030, we should substantially increase the number of youth and adults who have relevant skills. And this is a motive to drive action in the world. If you don't have relevant skills, you cannot make any global impact or global effect in the world. So I'm very particular about the number of youth and adults who should be well equipped with the requisite skills to face the corporate world or to face the working world. And lastly, by 2030, we should ensure that all learners acquire knowledge and skills, not only knowledge, not only book theory, but also skills to promote sustainable development. So these are some of the educational challenges in Ghana, and out of the many problems or the larger context of problems in the educational sector in Ghana, these are the many few I want to present to you. The school environment is usually not conducive to learning, and I know can all attest to the fact that in Africa we have trees under schools. Just imagine a student or a pupil learning under a tree. The incomfort, the kind of inconsistencies. How is education being facilitated? How is studies being facilitated? These are problems that need solving. These are problems that need attention. Classes are overcrowded. Even in these dilapidated structures, in this hot weather, in these problems we face around the educational sector, we also have classes being overcrowded. And this will tell you that people are ready and eager to learn, but there are not enough facilities to accommodate them. We have water and sanitation problems, which are also inadequate, and also trained teachers and school books. In summary, teaching and learning materials are also short in supply. So what is higher education? And I would like to quote something from Sheripov, which I like too much. And he is saying that higher education has now been integrated into the wider globalization process, which means that globalization and higher education comes hand in hand. In order for us to enjoy the full efficacy of globalization, we should be able to triumph over higher education. And due to this globalization, the internationalization of higher education is regarded as one of the leading trends. So you cannot omit, globalization without talking about higher education. And this also determines the value foundation of the functioning of most modern universities in the world, nonetheless, Ghana. So these are the core functions of a higher education. After passing through a higher education, it should be able to give you the requisite or the good quality of education. You should enjoy quality education to its maximum. You should be able to come out to do informed research, come out with research projects which are going to change the world. And lastly, you should be able to contribute to society. And this is something it's rare, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. People go through universities 4 years, 6 years, 5 years, and they cannot contribute to society. Why? Because they lack the skills. And that is why I'm so passionate. And I hit on the key issue that give us the necessary skills. Don't only impact us with the book knowledge or the theory, but give us also the skills to also impact to society. And these are challenges of higher education. As I said earlier, I'll be also talking about the tertiary institutions. And we earlier to this program, when I got the invitation, I also sent Google Forms around to also let students state their challenges in higher education, some of the challenges they face in higher education. And out of the many, these are some things I see promising and prominent, and I would like to share. They commented on the fact of inadequate teaching and learning materials, laboratories, projectors, equipment. Just imagine someone learning a science and practical something, and the person has never been in the laboratory before. The person, after completing the 4-year degree, comes out to do nothing for society, which is very, very, very disturbing. We also have frequent strike actions by teachers who also complain of lower salary. And I think in Ghana here, students were stranded and were left restless because teachers went on a month or two in that strike, and also lack practical training, as I said earlier. And some of the courses we study under our program are way more unrelated. You can see someone studying science and a course being given to the person to study is also not related. It doesn't help ensure the conformity and uniformity. And lastly, we have also poor educational structures. So as part of the Google Forms I also solicited the views of people who have been affected by COVID-19 pandemic, people in the higher education. And I asked them, how has COVID-19 pandemic affected you as a student? And you can see that from the chart that 48% of them were saying that they were really affected by COVID-19 pandemic. First of all, the educational structure is not nice. It is not well. And we can see from this case that COVID-19 is also really affecting them both as a student and both as an individual. So you can see the gap we need to fill in terms of higher education. There's a lot of work, a lot of work needs to be done around this sector. And one thing or one recommendation I would like us to focus on is integrating the sustainable development goals into the educational curriculum. And positively enough, when I asked some of the students, have you heard about the sustainable development goals? 88% of them were like, oh yes, I've heard about the sustainable development goals, which is a good thing. But the question we should ask ourselves is, how frequent do you advocate for these sustainable development goals? How do you implement? How do you practicalize these sustainable development goals? And that is why I'm so passionate, and I would like it very much if world leaders could come back and look at us Africans and change the educational curriculum such that these sustainable development goals can be integrated early from the onset of education, such that even from after completing the secondary education, you know what the SDGs stand for. You know what you can do to help us realize some of these SDGs. And a continuation to what I'm saying, the SDGs is a universal call for us to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that by 2030, all people enjoy peace and prosperity. So if you are even able to integrate this into the educational curriculum, as a matter of increasing quality education, we are also making sure that Agenda 2030 is being realized to its full efficacy or potency. And as a result, if someone is well informed about the SDGs, someone can come out with nice policies to even tackle SDG Goal 7, affordable and clean energy. A young professional can come out with something nice to tackle SDG Goal 11, sustainable cities and communities. So I'd like to end here and say that quality education shouldn't normally be based on theory. We should provide infrastructures, we should provide facilities, and most importantly, we should provide the youth and young enthusiasts with the requisite skills to face the world. Thank you very much. And I know what I've said here will make a global impact and also make change. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Richmond, that was an excellent presentation, and it's truly admirable and amazing what you're doing to promote sustainability goals, to create change in your community, and to inspire others. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, and now we are joined by someone extraordinary, a leader in his community, Yash Sehrawat from University of Delhi in India. Yash has been working on SDG quality education since 2014 by providing education to the more vulnerable section of Indian society. Very, very pleasant to meet you, Yash, and really excited to learn more about your work and how you advocate for UN goal number 4.
Thank you for such a kind introduction. I would just like to start my presentation by just saying that education is a fundamental right, and everyone must have an access to it. It is the foundation for children, for youth, and for our entire communities to reach to their fullest. It not only just improves our career, it improves the confidence in ourselves, and it helps for the personal development of our lives. So I'd just like to state that, unfortunately, in our society, we don't have this equality of education that we all expect. We have the societies as haves and the have-nots. And unfortunately, it is true that not everyone has the fundamental right to gain education. I would just like to state an example. Like, I would say that I am the one who is privileged enough to get the education, but not my mate's daughter. So back in 2014, when I started my Step for Change journey of just educating the people, of just educating my mate's daughter, it was just a step that I thought that I could do in just my summer vacations. But in reality, it was not. Her peers in her community, they were all going to schools except her, because her financial aid was not able, her family was not able to support her to go to school. So I just started to teach her in a better way so that she can just enroll herself in the government school. So when I started teaching her, I just realized that the society is so vulnerable right now and people don't have the access to education. So I thought that, yeah, maybe it's the right time to just take a step forward and just to jump towards the conclusion and just start teaching her. This global pandemic has taught us that education in the global world is lacking a lot. And just the peer pressure which we have of online tutoring is not beneficial. So I think that even if we as student, even if we as people just take a step forward to teach someone in our society, in our locality, it can make a huge difference. Education not only just provides us the education or the knowledge of knowing everything, it also helps us in the social development. It helps because people will have the right to know about their rights, especially among women who don't have the privilege of getting the sanitation of themselves, who are now also forced for going to the grounds for open defecation. So I think that providing just 30 minutes every day, we can just spare 30 minutes every day and take a step forward to just go in our locality, just teach a child, just provide him a pen or a pencil, Just give him some basic education, just teach them their rights, just teach them so that they can stand on their legs, so that they can just support their families, so that they can have a brighter future just like us. And at last, I would just like to say that the only thing that matters is accountability. The civil society and other stakeholders, including us, the young people, we need to just take a step forward. We need to push ourselves. We need to engage ourselves to the betterment of our society. And yes, we can believe it. I have achieved it. And I think that you all have the potential to achieve it. So by that, I would like to just say that, yes, we have the potential of making a brighter future for everyone. So why don't we take it? We need to take just one step, just provide them one book, just give them one pencil. And yes, it can make a huge difference in our society. Thank you.
Yes, this was not just brilliant. I mean, your work towards making the education accessible to promote this sustainability development is beyond noble. And I wish you great success in implementation of all your initiatives. And it's amazing to see leaders like you, Yash, that care about the society, that are young leaders that nurture a new generation themselves. So wonderful to see you here at WERS, and we're really looking forward to your extraordinary, inspiring solutions that will target SDG goal number 4 and your implementation of sustainable solution in your society and then globally. Thank you so much, Yash.
Thank you so much.
I would like to introduce you to the next generation leader, Prosper Atia, a graduate from the University for Development Studies, who is now working with the United Nations Development Program in Ghana. And he will speak on the SDG number 8, decent work and economic growth.
Thank you very much. Firstly, the SDG 862 promotes inclusive and sustainable economic growth, which is employment and decent works for all. It is estimated that about 172 million people worldwide are not without works. It is also estimated that about 700 million workers worldwide live in extreme or moderate poverty. In the context of the least developed countries, Ghana to be specific, the Ghana economy has a diverse and rich resource base, including the manufacturing and exportation of digital technological goods. With a population of about 82 million people and a GDP of $74 billion, the Ghanaian economy is largely dominated by small or medium-scale enterprises, which we call them SMEs for short. These SMEs, they represent 80% of the businesses in the country, and they contribute to 70% of the GDP, which I've mentioned earlier. A large population of the labor force of Ghana are largely in agriculture production, which represents 44% of the total population. A recent research carried out by the Ghana Statistical Service in collaboration with the United Nations Development Program and the World Bank showed that during the COVID-19 lockdown period, a lot of businesses were shut down because of the lockdown. It's also seen from the research that 35% of businesses had closed down during the lockdown. 44% of these businesses reported to have reduced the wages of 35% of their employees. This is sad. In addition, 35% of these businesses reduce the working hours of their workforce. Moving forward, somebody might ask, the SDG Goal 8, what can I do? So if somebody asks that question, I'll be delighted or to tell the person that this is what you can do to achieve these SDGs in 2030. We should encourage the various governments to be committed politically to improve the enabling environment for businesses to operate. It is important that the government makes it suitable for all businesses to carry out their day-to-day activities in order to promote employment for everyone. As an employer too, it is good to provide decent working conditions for your workers to ensure that productivity is at its maximum. If you are a business owner, register your business, pay your taxes, and then you can now demand quality public services from the government. Policymakers should also make youth employment a priority, making the transition from the education to a decent job easier by investing in education and training. Also, we should enforce laws to stop child and labor force abuse. Everyone can contribute to decent works and economic growth. You can help your colleague at the workplace by reporting any work-based harassment or work-based abuse. In so doing, with this collective unit, we'll move forward and we can attain this SDG goal 8, decent work and economic growth by 2030. Thank you very much.
Prosper, this was a brilliant example of how a young leader is creating shift in his society. And it's a great honor to have you here at WORS Conference and see your incredible solutions that shape a better, a more sustainable world. Thank you so much for your work.
Thank you very much.
I'm very excited to welcome to this panel Elizabeth Banner, who is a student at University of Energy and Natural Resources in Ghana, university called Sunyani. And her goal is gender equality. I'm really looking forward to hear you speak, Elizabeth. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Angelica, once again. I'm talking about SDG 5, and it talks about quality education. This SDG seeks to this SDG aims at giving women and girls equal representation, just as men. We can see in our current world that women are not really giving much representation. Women are not really noticed when it comes to decision making in politics, in economics, in owning properties and all that. This SDG seeks to bring a halt to all these things. When we come to our school settings in Ghana, for instance, when we look at the SRC, which is the Student Representation Council, women are not really given much representation. When a woman stands in for an SRC position, you see that students will not really vote for the woman. But when it comes to a guy, the students will choose the guy. They end up criticizing the woman, that women are weak, women cannot hold high positions and all that. And then people also think that women should not have higher education than men. Men are supposed to have higher education, and then women are supposed to stay more in the kitchen and all that. When we look at our political settings also, we just have one in the whole West Africa. We have one woman being the Speaker of Parliament, looking at the whole West Africa. And that is not really a good start. Women are supposed to be given equal opportunities just as the men. Women are supposed to be able to represent in when it comes to representation in higher institutions, you see that the men are more represented than the women. The women are not able to hold higher positions. It is assumed that women are weak and fragile, and women cannot hold high positions, but then the men can do all these things. The aim of this SDG is to bring a halt to all those things. Women can also have high positions. Women can be educated. women can just like the men, women should be acknowledged. Women should also be able to hold higher positions. They should be able to do things that men can do, as in owning properties, holding high positions in higher institutions and all that, holding leadership positions, taking part in decision making, and then owning properties. Yes, let me repeat it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Elizabeth. This has been a very thought-provoking and very important issue that you addressed. And I know that you're advocating for this in your environment, in your society. And this is really brilliant what you're doing. And I believe that everyone who's watching us right now understands that women have to be given more voices, more opportunities, more empowerment opportunities. Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very excited today because we see leaders from all over the world. We see students that care about issues of sustainability in their community. And I'm very honored to be joined by Ahmed Fatima from the University of Energy and Natural Resources. And her favorite SDG that she's focusing in her work is SDG number 8, decent work and economic growth. Fatima, thank you so much for joining us today. Looking forward to hearing your insights.
Decent work and economic growth. The aim of this goal is to ensure that decent jobs are created and then people are employed to improve the living standard of the people, including their livelihood, so that the economic growth of that community or that country will be improved. And then looking at the research I just did, I saw that a report from the ILO, that is the International Labour Organization, reported 2021 and then 2019 that the least development countries are not able to achieve the GDP of 7%, which is the first target of this SDG 8. And I will link that to the fact that people are not employed and people are not getting jobs, that people are not getting jobs, people are not employed. And then the COVID-19 too made so many people's jobs to be terminated. They were well off because their service were no longer needed. Money wasn't in the system any longer. Due to this, the economic growth of the country, especially Ghana and other developing countries, reduced. And as a result of this, I would say that we students who are graduating these days or yet to be graduated are not fully equipped with a skill that is needed to be competitive in the job market, because our courses are not preparing us effective enough. Measures like entrepreneurship courses are not lectured in the universities. We lack those courses. So if students graduated and there is no job acquisition for that person, the person is not able to employ his or himself because the person has no entrepreneur skills in him or her. And then the second one is we lack employability camps too. The universities are not able to organize seminars, employability seminars for us to go and then learn new things like speaking in public, interviews, and what have you. So when we graduate and then there is a job acquisition and it's indicated that we should go for interviews, We lack the courage to face the people. We are not able to express ourselves well. We may have our first classes, but still, we are not able to pass the interview, which wouldn't make us acquire the job. Then the training programs too on softwares. We do not even know how to prepare presentation slides, and then no knowledge on these tools and designs. So it makes us vulnerable when we come out. It makes us very vulnerable. We are not competitive to meet this job market requirement. So I'll add that if we want to really achieve this SDG 8, which is to promote decent work and then achieve economic goals, then we should instill these measures like entrepreneurship courses, software programs, and then employability camps to prepare the student very well to be more competitive in the job market. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been a very heart-opening presentation, and I believe that the challenges that you've addressed that are there in educational system in Ghana and around the world are really vital to be addressed. And as we are joined by academics and global change makers, I do believe that they can listen to your voice and can create the solutions that will help here. And thank you so much for your initiative, for your bravery, for your resilience, for everything you're doing to remain eager to study no matter what and remain actually the person you are to fulfill your mission and help in your community. It's really incredible what you're doing for sustainable development, and I'm really honored to have you here. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very excited to welcome you to WER's conference, and today we have Lina Hussein, who is a young leader in her community. She's from Jordan, from Princess Samaya University. She's a student there, and her goal that she's advocating for is a goal for quality education. And I'm very excited to welcome you, Lina, here. Please share your insights with us and your work.
Thank you. The fourth goal of the SDGs is the goal that purely focuses on education. The goal of quality education is not a goal focused on literature or numbers, but it is a goal to ensure that all individuals are able to discover their full potential and therefore their role in the community. The curriculums that most schools and universities have to offer are focused on our test scores. They're focused on how many words per minute a student can read and whether or not they can find the derivatives of all existing equations. And as soon as we are finished with these subjects, we forget everything that we have learned. It's unuseful simply because it's not practical. Most of the time, graduates enter what the adults call the real world, and they're completely shocked because they have to learn how to do taxes and how to buy a house and how to make a bank account and all of these things. And we never had to worry about these things because our parents or guardians had those things handled. And it's not just about the process of these tasks, but it's also about our jobs and the careers that we choose to follow. Most students studying majors related to programming will know how to develop a program that prompts the user to enter what kind of mathematical operation they want to have done and have that operation done. But tell me this, will they be able to develop an actual website or app? Engineering students will be able to know what Pythagoras theory is, but they'll never know how to design a foundation of a building. And then the student becomes demotivated and they keep asking themselves, why am I doing this? And what am I doing this for? But we can't exactly blame the teachers because they don't even know what this practical knowledge is. And even though they can't really offer this practical knowledge, what they can do is that they can offer support. The time we spend studying in schools and universities shouldn't be the time where we try to get the highest average. It should be the time where we get to discover who we are, and what our potential is, what our passion is, what we want to do with our lives. And universities can help us with that by getting the most successful people and having us hear what they did for us to be able to do what we want to do. There has to be a cooperation between academia and industry for order to us to better understand and have an insight of what our future may look like if we choose to become experts in these fields. If we can create this community where everyone is doing what they want to do, then we would have teachers who teach not because they have to, but because they'd love to. And you know that this kind of energy, it's contagious. The student seeing that this teacher that has such passion and love for the subject will be able to have that same passion and love, and they will study it because they want to, not because they have to. And this idea of just getting it over with will evaporate. And in the end, if we all support and work together, we will be able to create an education system that ensures that the community grows and that each individual in that community is a productive individual. What we lack in our education system is not in knowledge and it's not in books, but it's in love, passion, and support.
Wow, that's amazing.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Lina. That was really amazing, and
thank you
really,
so much.
Insightful what you're doing, and especially within your community in Jordan, advocating for the quality education, but most importantly, advocating for understanding the pressure that young people face when they are trying to enter this new and very alienated world after graduation. It's super important that you've addressed these challenges, and I'm really looking forward to hearing more from you in our next conferences. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. This was Lina Hussein, who is working very hard on implementation of the goal number 4 in her community. Thank you, Lina.
Thank you.
Today, we heard some extraordinary solutions and some really pressing challenges from young people all across the globe. And my attention went through different presentations today. And one thing that I've noticed is that young people, students, young graduates, people that are really passionate about creating those sustainable changes in their communities need our support. They need academic support as guidance. They need academic and professional support as mentorship to fulfill their full potential, to make those challenges addressed in real time effectively with the help of those who are already an expert and a leader in their field. Today, we heard some extraordinary solutions, but we need to work collaboratively with those ones that have experience on that. And I'm really, really grateful for everyone who joined our discussion today, every student leader that has been very passionate about advocating for UN Sustainable Development Goals for a better world by 2030. Thank you very much.